Hi guys, it's Miss Fuller. So today we're going to be kind of talking about topographic maps and what those are and how we use them to predict land and erosional features such as like where rivers are, where canyons are, things like that. So the first thing we need to do is we need to write down our topic for this lesson. So we are going to interpret So to interpret really means to read it, to understand, to know what's going on in this map. Topographic maps and satellite views to identify land and erosional features and predict how these features may be reshaped by weathering. So I have this word topographic map. Topographic maps are essentially what a mountain would look like if it was flat. So instead of these 3D shaped mountains, we take them and we make them 2D. We make them something that is flat that we're able to see. Okay? So the first thing I want to do is, I should have had all my work printed out or passed out, or however your teacher wants to handle that. If you don't have a printer at home, remember you can just copy it down. I have all these circles. Well, these circles are my contour lines. These circles are what is going to help me know what elevation my mountain is. So we have this nice flat topographic map, and I want us to build it. I want us to make it look like it would in real life. So I have these numbers. These are my elevations. So this first line, this whole outside line, is at 10 meters above sea level. So I'm going to go right here to this very first one, and I'm going to put a dot, and I made it kind of big. I'm going to put a dot at 10 meters above sea level. Okay? I'm going to go to my next one. It's at 20. So I'm going to put a dot at 20. The next one's at 30. And then 40. Okay, so you can see this mountain's already going up. So I have another one. It's at 40. Okay? Now, I slide over. Look, this line is still at 40. We haven't changed elevation yet. But my next one, we went up again. We're at 50. So look, I'm changing my elevation as I go up. So now I just got to finish the mountain. So I got 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10. So I have these dots. Now I need to connect them. Now I have this rough shape shape of my mountain. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to connect. I'm going to connect the dots. Okay? So I went from this, which was flat, which was 2D, to now I have something that roughly resembles a mountain. That's the shape of my mountain. So I went from flat to essentially 3D. This is what it would look like if you were looking at the side view. So this is the side view. Or you could also call that the profile view. Okay, so this is my topographic map. This is my profile or my side view. Okay, so we have a couple of questions. Let's see if we can figure them out before we really know what each of these are. Could you tell me about how tall in meters is Williams Hill? So I'm going to move this to where we just see the profile view now. Okay? So the tallest dot that I have, the highest dot I have is 50. So that would be the top of my mountain. But this side is not Williams Hill. Okay, so we have to pay attention to that. This side is Jenkins. This side is Williams. So let's look. Where's the top of Williams? Right here. How tall is that? 40 meters. Okay? How tall is Jenkins? Well, let's look. What's that last line? 50. Okay? Which of the two peaks is taller? Jenkins. That was pretty easy. By how much? It's 10 meters taller. Now, which hill has a steeper slope? Which hill is going up more vertically? Which one's going more up and down? Okay, so if we look, we have these two slopes. This one is going at a more vertical angle than this one. You see that? It's more vertical. So Jenkins Hill has a steeper slope. We can tell this by two ways. One, the line is more vertical. In the profile view. Okay, and two, look at all these lines. Look at this area right here. These lines are closer together. So the lines are closer together in the topographic map. Okay? So that's really simple. If I have a profile view, I just look and I see, okay, which side's steeper. If I have a topographic map, I look and see, okay, where are the lines closer together? So then I come over here and it says which hill has a gentle slope? Which hill is less steep? And that would be Williams Hill. And Williams Hill is less steep because look at these lines. Look how far apart they are. So we would say the lines on the map are farther apart. Okay? So I've taken and I've learned all of this information from just this map right here. This map showed me my side view and my profile view, but this one is showing me what the elevation is at each level, where's the steepness, where's the gentleness, and overall what the mountain is going to look like if I was to go hiking one day and I wanted to hike up this mountain or this hill. Okay? So we're gonna put this in our journal and we're gonna try something else to help you see this. So I'm going to the next blank page in my journal and I'm just gonna do 4 drops and glue it down. Again, if you can't print or you don't have glue, you can always draw this into your journal. Okay? So instead of going to a new page, I have this white space that I'm going to just use as my area to take notes because they go together. Now you have another piece of paper, it's a half sheet, and it has these shapes on it. Okay? These shapes represent lines on a topographic map. So what I'm going to do is, you see this hole? I'm going to take my nice sharp pencil. It can be a regular pencil, it can be a mechanical pencil, whichever one you want. I'm very gently going to poke my pencil through that hole. And it's going to make a decent sized hole, but that's okay. And I'm going to do that to all 4 of them. So at this point, if you do not have these cut out, pause the video, get them cut out real quick, and poke your hole through them. That one ripped a little bit. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to take these pieces and I want to build a mountain. So if you look at the tops of them, they say cut out 1, cut out 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to take cut out 1, and I'm going to put my pencil through the hole, just like that. Okay? We have east and west labeled on our cutout. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to keep layering these pieces with about an inch in between them. If you mess up or you rip them, it's fine. It'll still work for the most part because I ripped mine. It's a little wonky, but it's okay. All right. So what I have now, and I'm going to come around and show you on the camera. Is I now have a mountain on a stick. We can very clearly see the side view or the profile view of my mountain. So we can see that there's a gentle slope here. Make sure your east and west are lined up. Gentle slope here. We have a steeper slope here. We can see that there's an indent. Now, I want you to point your map towards you so you can look at it from the top. Do you see how it's now flat, how it's 2D? This is my topographic map, okay? So, first thing I want to do is I'm going to sketch my profile view. Okay, so I'm going to hold my mountain on a stick and I'm going to sketch kind of what it looks like from the side. So I've got a nice gentle slope. It kind of flattens out and then comes straight down. So this would be my gentle slope. And that's on the west side. And this would be my steep slope on the east side. Okay? Now, what I need to do is I'm going to start with cutout 1. And I'm going to lay it on my paper. I'm going to line up the west and the east. This is going to be my topographic map. And a topographic map, like we've been talking about, is essentially a bird's eye view. We're looking at it from the top down. What is it going to look like? So I'm lining up my east and my west. I'm going to put a dot through the hole so I can line it up. And then I'm just going to trace it. So this is cutout 1. This one, this bigger piece, would have the lowest elevation. All right, gonna line up with my dot that I made, and I'm gonna trace cutout 2. I'm just going to keep doing this for all 4 of my cutouts. All right. Cutout 3. Make sure you're lining up east and west. And cutout 4. I am not very good at tracing, so this is taking me a lot longer than it probably took you. There we go. Okay? So now we can see that there's this funny little indent. Okay, if you remember from your reading notes, the bottom of the V or the U, like we see here, we see this V shape right in here, points upward, and that represents a river or a stream, some sort of water. Okay? So far, so good. So these pieces right here, what I would do if I had tape with me, but I don't have tape with me, is I would line them all up, and I'm just going to tape them down right here on the corner of my paper so that I can still open this up and look at these notes if I need to, but then I have this here. All right, so last thing for today, let's talk about what each part of a topographic map is, so that we all understand what does a topographic map look like, what does each part stand for. All right, so I'm going to label my page topographic. Map. Notes. Okay? And then you should have one of these squares. If you are online, again, if you can't print, draw it real quick, but you only need one of them. So very gently, I'm going to put just a little bit of glue in each corner. I don't want a lot because I have to write on it and I don't want it to rip. Just a little bit of glue in each corner. Excuse me. I'm going to put it in the middle of the page. Excuse me, I am so sorry. Okay? So, like we've said before, this is our topographic map. So the lines, those are called contour lines. And they represent areas of the same elevation. So this outside line, everything on that outside line is the same elevation. Everything on line labeled number 1 is the same elevation. Okay? So now I'm going to take my pencil, my pen, in this case I have markers, and I'm going to darken this first line. Okay, I'm going to darken that line, and then I'm going to go in 5 lines, every 5th line. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 would be this guy right here. So every 5th line. Those are called index contours. So I'm going to draw a little arrow, and I'm going to label that index contour. And what makes these special is they're darker and they have the elevation written on there. So we're going to go ahead and add the elevation. Let's say this is at 50 meters. Okay? So this would be at 100 meters. Okay, does everybody see that? I'm going to zoom in real quick so you can see that I wrote 100 meters. Yep, okay. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I counted right. So these index contours help us determine the elevation at different points. So now I have 50 here and I have 100 here. I need to know how much each line is worth. Okay? So in this case, it's pretty easy. Most we take these two numbers that we know. So I have 100 meters. I'm going to subtract 50 meters, and that gives me 50. All right? There's 5 lines, so I do 50 divided by 5, and that gives me 10. So each of my lines, each of my contour lines, is 10 meters. Each of my contour lines is 10 meters, okay? Most of the time, your map is going to tell you this, okay? Most of the time, your map is going to tell you this. Now, we have this U shape right here. And I'm just going to kind of do a dotted box around it. That U shape, remember from a minute ago, is some sort of water feature. It could be a river, or it could be a stream. But what you're seeing is essentially the opposite direction of which way it flows. So in this case, the top of the mountain, the river flows downhill. Okay? The river always flows, or water always flows downhill. What's happening is as the water is coming downhill, as it's moving downhill, it's actually going to make these U shapes, these V shapes, deeper. They're going to get deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's actually carving a crack or a crevice inside the mountain. So I have a model of a mountain that I made, okay? So here it is. And it has that V shape. So right here, this is where water would be flowing down like a waterfall, and it's going to slowly carve out this area until it's carved through. And then it's going to change what this looks like. Okay? So one more thing we need to talk about real quick, and then we'll be done for today, is depressions. Okay? So depressions are this where the mountain goes up, and then at the top of the mountain it goes back down inward. So something, if this was a profile view, something like this. But just a little bit, not a whole bunch. It just goes down a little bit. And so a depression is usually used to identify volcanoes or to identify craters. So the symbol on the topographic map would be your contour line with little tick marks in it. It kind of looks like that ring off the top of a water bottle. So like you open it and then there's that ring left. It looks like the inside of that ring. Okay? So quick sketch of maybe the top of a volcano. So this is where it would go down, and then it would go down right there. So let's say this is at, I'll change colors. Let's say this is at 600, 700. When I get here, I have to count down again. So the 600 and then 500 in the middle. Okay, so when I reach these little tick marks, that means I have to start counting down again. So I count up, and then I count backwards when I reach the depression. So far, so good. All topographic maps really are is counting. So let's look at one last thing. I know I said that a second ago, but I remembered something. So you see this area here that I'm labeling in pink?
Teachers and students, may I have your attention for afternoon transportation announcements? I need everyone to listen. First of all, bus 14, you need to pay close attention. You're going to be split up today. If you ride bus 14 as a shuttle bus to another campus, you are going to need to immediately go outside after the bell and get on bus 48 today. So again, if you ride 14 as a shuttle bus, you need to get on 48. However, stay with me. If you ride 14 just as your regular bus that takes you home, you need to wait and get on bus 51 the second time. So again, class, let's review. If you ride bus 14 as a shuttle bus, you need to get on 48. If you ride bus 14 as your normal bus that takes you to your mommy and daddy, then you need to report to the cafeteria and you will ride bus 51 the second time around. Moving on, if you ride bus 44, you are normally an early bus, you will not be today. Bus 44, you're going to be riding 22 the second time around. So bus 44 students, you need to report to the auditorium this afternoon. Last announcement, bus 6. If you ride bus 6, you need to report to the cafeteria, but you will be riding bus 39 the second time around. I am not going to repeat any of this. I'm sure there's going to be a few of you that missed the bus because you weren't listening to these instructions. We will deal with you soon enough. Everybody else have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Go look at Christmas lights. Go buy some presents. Do something that makes you feel good, that makes your mommy and daddy happy. And we'll see you bright and early Monday morning.
Alright, sorry about that. This is my steep side because the lines all the way over here on the east side, they're closer together. The north and the west side, southwest as well, that's my gentle slope because the lines are far apart. We are going to practice this some more throughout the coming week along with reviewing for your benchmark. So if you have any questions or you need any help, please let us know. Thank you. Have a great day.